Welcome back everyone to French Bread's Dark Souls 3 lore run. I am French Bread, or Chris if you prefer. For the first section of this video, we're going to be doing post-commentary because my silly self had some mic issues, and I'll do my best to kind of give the same commentary I did previously. I know that we start this episode off with a item roundup, which we'll be getting into shortly. Here we go. We started off with the Jailer's Keyring. Ring of keys to the Irithyll dungeon held by the jailer. Opens most cell doors. On what grounds do they remain imprisoned, considering that by now they are mindless hollows or unrealized gibbering fools? And the point I really wanted to make here is that there's a strong implication with this item that those who were put in the Irithyll dungeon, well, what do you normally do a prison for, right? You put people in there who are a danger to your society. But that sort of changes a little bit when maybe you happen to be a religious leader who has recently assumed his title, and there may be dissenters to that, given that you've claimed the title without being elected to it or granted it. So maybe you put people who are a threat to your new reign or know things that you wish they didn't know. You lock them away in the dungeon. And the item here implies that at this point all these people are either hollow or crazy, and there's probably no reason to imprison them anymore because they can no longer expose any secrets or pose any kind of a threat. Next item we're going to look at is Logan's Scroll. Secret scroll of the profane capital court sorcerers, containing sorceries of Logan. Give to a sorcerer to learn Logan's sorceries. The court sorcerers use this scroll to claim heirship to Logan's legacy, though how that claim stands up to closer scrutiny is another story. So here we got a little bit of information, a little peek into the profane capital. They had their own court sorcerers and presumably their own school of sorcery, and this school claimed heirship to Logan's legacy, but you know, you would assume that that sort of right would have gone to maybe an institution like Vinheim. But here we have these profane capital guys laying claim to it instead. We'll be getting more into the kind of the opinions of the court sorcerers later on as we acquire more items. Here we just briefly went over Great Magic Shield. There's no real lore on here. It just makes your shield akin to a great shield in toughness. And next we went to check up on our weapons. I did a bit of farming in between episodes, and I was able to acquire items such as the Gargoyle Flame Hammer. Stone Torch Hammer, wielded by gargoyles of the Profane Capital. The Profane Flame, which never goes out, imbues this weapon with a fire attack. So, yeah, we've already, and the spear has the same description basically, but we've already heard about the Profane Flame before, and that it's an everlasting flame, so this just kind of corroborates that statement from the past. And apparently this flame, it was possible to dole out some of its fire, its warmth, its ability, or whatever, to even mundane objects like weapons in order to be used. We saw this with the tinder halberd weapon of the fire witches as well. We acquired the soldering iron of the jailers. There's not a lot of lore on this. It's a branding iron used by the jailers prowling the Irithyll dungeon. The real lore, the real meat and potatoes of the jailers is going to be on their armor, however. And we check out the headgear here. The Aristocrat's Mask. Mask worn by jailers of the Irithyll dungeon. Noblemen delighted in its plump features. The jailers were among the few survivors inhabiting the profane capital. later serving under Pontiff Sullivan. Perhaps the screams emanating from the cells help them to forget their old home. So these guys, ex-noblemen and survivors of the profane capital, presumably after that human cleansing flame tore through, and presumably around the time that Pontiff Sullivan discovered the flame and his own ambition kind of ignited. Apparently either his charisma or his power was sufficient enough to draw these aristocrats into his service, even as something as lowly as a jailer. Well, lowly I say, could have been a high appointment in Sullivan's government. And the jailer robe basically says the same thing. It just indicates that the robes were originally ritualistic formal wear. Next up, we check out the old sorcerer armor. Traditional attire worn by sorcerers of the Vinheim Dragon School. Long ago, sorcerers were said to always dress properly, even while on distant journeys of discovery, even before such journeys were established curriculum. So it kind of seems like maybe the likes of Griggs and Logan and what's-his-face, the Magic Smith, they set up a tradition, or they convinced the Vinheim Dragon School of the efficacy of a journey of discovery, and this is kind of part of their legacy left over from Dark Souls 1. Scroll through here, we surprisingly had no rings or any of that sort of thing to discuss. So instead, we just get on with it. You'll notice we're in a different location than we were previously. I decided that I wanted to do that farming, and then I wanted to make use of that key ring, and I felt the best way to do that would be to just kind of take a top-down approach to it. So the first door it opens is right here, and I get the impression that, or not get the impression, I thought it was interesting that the actual picture of the key ring showed 3 keys on it. Kind of at this point, when I thought I was recording, I was wondering if perhaps there were going to be a total of 3 doors opened by it. At the time I did not actually have the answer, which is something I had noticed when I was reading the key ring. Here you see me swapping out my farming rings for my normal use rings. I had forgotten to do so earlier. Screw that guy, he pushes people. Nobody likes that kind of bully. And chopping through jailers. I had a very strong performance against this jailer. I really demonstrated my keen accuracy, my ability to judge my distances. I had been hoping that I would pick up the final piece of the jailer set, but no such luck, just another robe. Yes, I believe as I headed through this way. Yep, I went to take this plunging attack, and the situation gets a little bad, but at the time that plunging attack reminded me of see, a bit of an anecdote. I've been replaying Dark Souls 2 lately, specifically the Scholar of the First Sin edition, which I've got thoughts about, but the plunging attack reminded me that in Dark Souls 2, once you begin a plunging attack, you are unable to change the direction of your attack, which, fair enough. I guess that makes a bit more sense. More logical sense, I guess. But, man, I do appreciate being able to change the direction however I like in Dark Souls 3. I think Bloodborne allowed that sort of freedom as well. Maybe that's why I was so used to the idea, because I played a lot of Bloodborne before I got to Dark Souls 3. Rather, I was playing it up to Dark Souls 3's release. Yeah, Scholar of the First Sin. My short answer on anyone who's curious about playing Scholar of the First Sin, is don't. Get Dark Souls 2, get all the DLC, download that hot little Aldea patch, and never ever 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 played Scholar of the First Sin. I might go into more detail about that later at some point, but they made some minor improvements and, in my opinion, a truckload of negative changes. It's a very... took all the wrong-headed, in my opinion, all the wrong-headed aspects of Dark Souls 2 and then just dialed them up to 11. But enough of that nonsense. Here we are. Back to the items. Back to the lore. Pick it up, Chris. There you go. Prisoner Chief's Ashes. Umbral Ash of the Prisoner Chief of the Catacombs. With this, the Shrine Handmaid will prepare new items. The Prisoner Chief used his clout to hoard all manner of things, but died without putting them to use. You got a hand, looks like he's grasping coins. Rusted copper coins, perhaps? I think it's interesting that the item there refers to him being the Prisoner Chief of the Catacombs. Obviously, when it says catacombs, you think of the Carthus catacombs, or the catacombs of Carthus. I'm of the opinion that maybe this was some sort of localization goof, and maybe they meant to say the Prisoner Chief of the dungeon? Because that, to me, makes a whole lot more sense than the Prisoner Chief of the Catacombs. We already got the Grave Warden's ashes, and it kind of seemed like he was the caretaker of the catacombs. So I just think that's kind of a goof on their part. Like, it just makes more sense because, you know, as a prison warden or prison chief, this guy would have had every opportunity to basically filch all the valuables of those who were justly or unjustly placed within the Irithyll dungeon, but in the end he's more of a hoarder than he is anything else because he never had the opportunity to make use of them. Kind of seems like he ended up imprisoned himself. Prisoner chiefs. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I'm like, well, how did the prisoner chief get locked up? Either somebody broke out, or he fell out of favor with Pontiff Sullivan and he was locked up, or I could be reading this wrong. Maybe by prisoner chief they mean he was like the go-to leader of the prisoner population. Like, he was the guy that prisoners looked up to, and kind of he was the one who organized, you know, prisoner concerns or complaints or what have you. That sounds a little ridiculous now that I say it aloud, considering the kind of place this dungeon obviously is. But if that latter interpretation is correct, then yeah, it would make a certain degree of sense that he could also use his clout as a trusted member of their society to hoard valuables, but he never ends up being able to use them because there is no parole time in the Irithyll dungeon. You don't get out ever, is my indication. Based on the Jailer keyring, you go in and then you stay in until you're nothing but a hollow or gibbering fool, or in the prisoner chief's case, a husk of a body. So, as you can see, my extremely dangerous foray or challenge against all these jailers is just about finished. That means we are just about to the point where I realized I was having mic issues and got that fixed on the fly. So, we're before the cage with that alluring, witchy-looking figure, and now we're gonna head in and give her a chat. I'm momentarily distracted by footsteps here. I didn't know what they were at first, and then I realized that they must be the pitter-patter of giant rat feet. But I'm gonna leave off now because Karla's gonna pick up from here.
Oh, there you are. I thought you'd all but forgotten me. How sweet. Good to know that a skinny little heretic can still turn heads. Oh, you're not one of them, are you? Accept my apologies for mistaking you for one of those leeches. So, what business have you here? This is a land of monstrosities, and I am no exception.
I'm gonna offer her help.
You're here to save me. But I'm guilty. A wretched child of the abyss. Is that something you can forgive?
Uh-oh. My Dark Souls 2 lore alert is going off.
Oh, really? You are no ordinary woman. Very well. Besides, I've grown tired of imprisonment. I am Karla, and I accept your proposal.
Karla. Not Yuria. Karla. Karla, a wretched daughter of the abyss. Well, we've met quite a few of those over the course of Dark Souls 2. Let's pop on back to the Shrine Bonfire and discuss this topic some more. Okay, so Karla. I have immediately two theories on Karla, and they're not incompatible with one another. They're just kind of not. They could go separately or they could go together. There you go. But I guess we should talk to her. We should talk to her first before I try to unify all the little disparate thoughts buzzing around in my head.
Ah, there you are. As I said, I am Karla, and am grateful to you. Now, what shall we do? The only thing that might interest you is my sorcery. Although my dark arts are a detestable sort. That wouldn't interest you, would it?
No, we love dark sorceries.
You're a wicked one, aren't you? Very well. Humans are of the dark, and you are no different. Some may avert their eyes, but the truth remains the truth. Be careful, though. Few humans are privy to this knowledge. Let it be a secret, kept between you and I.
Yeah, so like Karla says, like we're all pretty decently familiar with, humans descended from the pygmy, the inheritor of the Lord Soul, the Dark Soul. We're all intrinsically tied up with this phenomenon called the Dark.
There is one thing that you should know. There is a darkness within man, and I am afraid you will peer into it. Whether the fear will spark self-reflection or a ruinous nostalgia is up to you entirely. Fear not. Your choice will bring you no scorn.
Ruinous nostalgia. Okay, before we go on further, let me let me discuss a few things. Back in Dark Souls 1, we did some little bit of time travel, went back to Ulasil on the verge of its fall. Uh, did battle with many things of the dark, but most prominent among them was Manus, father of the Abyss, the one whom many speculate to have been the original holder of the Dark Soul, the so-called Pygmy. And he had lost a relic. What was it? It was a pendant that was precious to him, and had basically incited a ruinous nostalgia within him. Was the inciting incident that caused Manus to rage and the Abyss to start spreading. But as the dutiful chosen undead, we vanquished the hell out of Manus, and that appeared to be that. You know, the Abyss didn't disappear or anything, but we seem to have been able to quell its spread for a time, at least for as long as the flame burned. I suppose Manus was powerful enough that he was encroaching on the world with the Abyss, even though the flame still burned with relative strength. But it didn't disappear after that. We found out in Dark Souls 2 that Manus' essence shattered, and the shards of Manus formed into sentient sapient entities that are referred to as the Daughters of Manus. Nishandra, Queen of Dran Lake, was one of them. I believe she represented want or lust. She desired power more than anything else. There was what? Alisana or something along those lines, who represented Manus' fears. There was the Squalid Queen, who represented wrath. Elsana? Something along those lines. And there was that other one from the Iron Keep. I can't remember her name because you know me, I'm the Dark Souls 2 lore expert. I don't even know what she represented. Solitudes? I don't know. Talking out my ass now. Point is, shattered, became these female-like creatures of dark who went on to spread, by and large, ruin to the kingdoms they visited. And now we have Karla. Certainly none of those individuals, and yet declared Daughter of the Abyss, a dark sorceress, I guess a hexer if you were going to use Dark Souls 2 terms, who seems to know a lot about all of this. Let's talk to her a bit more with that established, and check out some of the sorceries she can sell to us.
There is one thing that you should know. There is a dark...
Okay, nothing new to say at the moment then. Fine. Right off the bat, Affinity. Probably one of the most iconic dark sorceries. A forbidden dark sorcery casts a dark manifestation of humanity. It appears to be an expression of envy, or perhaps love towards another, that will tenaciously pursue its target, even if, like so many human desires, it amounts to nothing but misfortune. So humanity was an item used in Dark Souls 1. Its mechanical function was to regain your human form, but its lore function was basically the visible manifestation of the vastly dispersed shards of the Dark Soul. And the dark sorceries were apt at utilizing humanity as sorceries. And it's interesting to see that these sorceries, just as kind of like in their own inherent nature, mimic some of the more extreme desires of mankind. And I don't, mankind is a way for me to distinguish between humanity, the Dark Soul, and the actual race of people. Not trying to be chauvinistic or whatever. It's just an easy term. She also sells Dark Edge, a forbidden dark sorcery, strikes with blade formed of humanity's darkness. Passed from mother to daughter, this blade was intended for both protection and as a means of taking one's own life. The young girl never swung it more than once. So,
Do stay safe.
do stay safe. Interesting stuff. Karla, a wretched daughter of the Abyss, rejected by the Abyss, and this interesting dark sorcery that references a mother and a daughter. Irrespective of anything we could assume that connects Karla to the Daughters of Manus, I think she also bears a connection to Alva the Wayfarer and Zuli the Witch, insofar as it is very possible that Alva and Zuli eventually settled down, had a child whose name was Karla, and I suppose at some point maybe the nature of the Abyss manifested in the child, which caused Karla to become the Spurned. Because in this game we don't have Alva the Wayfarer, we have Alva, Seeker of the Spurned. And we find his armor, and quite possibly by extension his corpse, sitting outside of Karla's cell. And then we take the sorcery of Dark Edge that was used for self-defense or to take one's own life. And I mean, there's nothing that says it directly, but you kind of get that feeling, right? That maybe the individual that the young girl used the spell on the one time was her own mother. In self-defense, maybe? Maybe Zuli realized that Karla was not just her own daughter, but also daughter of Manus, and attacked Karla, and Karla defended herself, but the understandably traumatic nature of such an event led her to never use the spell again. That's very strong speculation. The safer bets, or the safer speculation here, is that Karla may have some connection to Alva and Zuli, possibly as a daughter, and that she also has many hints thrown down that she's connected to the Abyss. Everything beyond that is just fun speculation, but I don't feel like it's completely unfounded. Let's...
Hello again. Thank goodness. Yes. Yes. You require my sorceries, I presume?
Let's give her some of the tomes we've acquired.
Oh, a pyromancy tome, have we? And one that resonates with the dark. Yes, well suited to me. Very well. If this is your wish, I will unravel the thing the best I can. Besides, it will be nice to play master for once. Oh, another pyromancy tome, have we? Quelana, Witch of Izalith. Well, this is a fascinating pyromancy. I may be a heretical sorcerer, but you bring me nothing but pyromancies. Fiendish little lass, you.
Karla's got kind of a fun, playful attitude. Well, we got Fire Whip. Primal pyromancy taught by Quelana, daughter of the Witch of Izalith, sweeps foes with a fire whip. The caster manipulates the flames at will, making this an extremely difficult spell to use. Pyromancy is at once the knowledge of controlling flame and the knowledge that control is impossible. More of that pyromancer double talk that is Seems to be a running theme in Dark Souls 3. Not that I hate it, but it's there. Firestorm. Primal pyromancy taught by Quelana. Surrounds the caster with multiple pillars of flame. The raging storm is indiscriminate. Such is the intrinsic horror of the flame. And rapport. Charms the enemy, making them a temporary ally. The living are lured by the flame, and this tendency is elemental to the art of pyromancy. So some sort of manipulation of the living's basically automatic fascination with the flame to turn them to your own ends. And from the Grave Warden Pyromancy scroll, we get Black Flame. Pyromancy discovered by the Grave Wardens after High Lord Wolnir fell to the abyss. Creates a giant black flame in hand. Black flames, born from the abyss, bear no shadow. They are said to be the impenetrable fires of humanity. So I guess these dark pyromancies represent the more raging, wrathful aspects of the Dark Soul, perhaps. Black Fire Orb, the description is much the same, except that the black flame inflicts dark damage, striking targets with weighty force. So it's not just like getting scorched by flames, the dark has a real mass to it. They are both discovered after Wolnir fell to the abyss. Interesting stuff.
There is one thing that you should know. There is a duck.
Okay.
Do stay...
So, that's what Karla's got for us for now. Let's go chat. See if he has anything to say now that Karla's here. I never really checked.
There I am. Heed my feet.
Nah. He's like, whatever. Alright, fine. Let's talk to Logan
Back
instead.
again, I see. I suppose this means you're after sorceries.
Any news, Logan? Logan? Why am I calling him Logan? Or Beck?
I don't mean to see any in the fight.
Probably calling him Logan because I want to give him this here Logan scroll.
Oh my. You've made quite the discovery. This is a scroll of the prodigious Big Hat Logan. A masterful sorcerer, long missed in Vinheim. And now we have his scroll. Right here in my very hands. I don't mean anything that I hope.
His gratefulness is short-lived, isn't it? What may this have granted us? Homing Soul Mass. Sorcery developed by Big Hat Logan, the great sorcerer who left the Dragon School in an age long past. Releases a homing soul mass. This sorcery may offer a clue as to what Logan sought, but further investigation suggests its attraction to living things mirrors the nature of the dark. So, this is a great little tidbit that may give us an insight into why Logan had some difficulty in being accepted by the Vinheim Dragon School. Maybe it was observed by several that Logan's sorceries had a peculiar similarity to some of the properties of dark. It's a theory anyway. We also have Soul Spear. Sorcery developed by Big Hat Logan. Fires a Soul Spear. The spear boasts superior penetrating power and is a testament to Logan's strength in battle. Fair enough. I guess that's it. Logan's scroll doesn't have a whole lot of mileage. Still, we had some nice details there.
Come again.
Come again. Rena, still chilling, still happy. Alright, I think that is it for the interactions available to us. Let's... Whoops. Let's try learning a few of these pyromancies, shall we? Black Flame sounds like it could be cool. Fire whip sounds fun. And let's get rapport, why not?
Don't stir up any trouble. You're my apprentice. Don't forget.
Is she concerned that since we're buying dark sorceries and pyromancies that we're gonna go on a tear?
Ah, hello again. Thank goodness. Yes. There is one thing.
Okay.
Do stay safe.
Sorry, just checking around. Let's get away from Andre's noisy hammer. And let's attune a few of these suckers. Let's do rapport and black flame. What do we got on here? Rapport. Yeah. It's the same animation. This is what sign-off animations dream of. Or dream to be. The flame's a little distracting. What if we up on the old ivory catalyst? Not bad. Except for I just noticed how creepy our finger looks when we do that. So maybe we'll keep the flame. Let's check out... Well, let's pop squat. And then let's check out the black flame. Ooh, it looks cool. But will it be as useless as Black Serpent? Let's briefly attune Fire Whip, because I want to see that too. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Can I, like, keep holding it? No? Guess not. That's not the most impressive looking sorcery. Or pyromancy. Doesn't mean it's not good. But I think what I would like to have is rapport and the old Karthus flame mark. I think that'll suit our purposes just fine. Okay. I'm thinking... It's a little early, perhaps, but I'm thinking this is a really good spot to cut things off for now. I will catch up with you guys next time. And we will tie up a few extra loose ends that I've left hanging for a while. And then we will get back to exploring the Profane Capital and see if we can't actually get to the next boss fight. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I hope you'll join me next time and you'll forgive, you know, not the most exciting of episodes in terms of action, but I feel like we had some pretty good speculations, pretty good lore. So, till then, take it easy.